day here in sunny Miami for a spring game, and thought the guys competed well and did some good things on both sides of the ball. And whenever you break the teams up, you're gonna have a little bit of sloppy play because it's the first time some of those groups are playing together. But all in all, I thought it was a good day, successful day. A lot of guys made some plays, and we got through the spring relatively healthy. Well, got a lot of momentum going into the off season, and looking forward to a great summer as we go into training camp, looking to field the best team in the Conference USA this year.
Coach, can you assess the two main quarterbacks that started for you, DJ and also JJ, and what they did well, what maybe they need to do better?
Yeah, I thought that JJ came out and had good command of the offense, which is what we expect from a guy that's played a lot of snaps at the college level. DJ, obviously his first year, this guy should be preparing for prom right now, as opposed to going through spring ball. So he's learning. There's a lot that's being thrown at him. We didn't really kind of baby step him. We kind of threw the kitchen sink out and see what we can retain. So they both did some really good things this spring. The spring game is never really the true indicator of their progress, just because again you got split teams, you got broken up offensive lines, skilled guys they haven't really built a rapport with. So I don't put a lot of I don't invest a lot of energy into the spring game. You want to let them have fun, get out healthy. But throughout the spring, I thought both guys really grew. JJ won the Most Improved Quarterback Award, which typically doesn't happen for the starting quarterback. And so to see him grow and develop and really learn this offense and how he has that type of rapport with the receivers and the skill guys is something that we're really encouraged about moving forward. And DJ has really shown the ability to learn, pick up things, and make plays when he needs to. So I think the quarterback room is strong. Zach Marker, we should be getting him back off of his ACL going into the season. So looking forward to seeing what he can finally do once he's able to really move around full speed. So feel really good about the quarterback room. We still have one roster spot that we're gonna try to fill, but I think it's gonna be a strong group for us this year.
I'm gonna ask you about a couple of guys that showed out a little bit today. Ormond Wallace made a nice pick. What do you think about him? And then Eric Johnson, I think it was called back on a penalty, but he still made a far-ranging, nice interception.
Yeah, I think we had 4 interceptions today, and one of them was called back. But D Hill had 2 interceptions, played a really strong game today, and he's had a phenomenal spring just overall. I think he's finally fully healthy again, so you see that for him that allowed him to be a freshman All-American during his time here. Ormond has really gotten himself into shape. He's really trimmed down. He's moving a lot better, which has allowed him to be near the ball. And that's something that this defense requires, is that our safeties are ranging. All those guys are long. D Hill 6'2", Ormond's over 6 feet tall. Eric Johnson, those guys are all over 6 feet. So you have the length and the athleticism, and now when they have the conditioning, they can be around the ball. So it was good to see those guys get their hands on footballs today. Obviously, from an offensive perspective, we got to do a better job of protecting it. The one that Ormond had was a deflection. The ball's a little bit high, deflected off the tight end's hands, and tip balls get picked. And so that's something that we really stress here, that quarterback drives the ball, doesn't leave it high. Skilled guys don't tip the ball up in the air for the defense to be able to get their hands on it. So it was good to see the defense be opportunistic. I think the mark of a great defense is that when the offense makes a mistake, they capitalize on it. And the mistakes that we made today offensively, the defense was able to capitalize. So there's a lot of encouraging things.
Offense didn't do a whole lot, but who do you think did do well in your view? It seemed like JoJo Stone made some plays. Who stood out for you on the offense?
Yeah, definitely JoJo made some big catches, some plays. I think Devontae Lyons continued to have a great spring, ripped off some big runs there. I think that the young guy, I think Malik Pinson, had some catches, and then Greg Gaines. I think Greg really made some strong catches today with using his body and his length. So it was good to see the receivers come out and have some success. Didn't really see many balls hit the ground, and that's a positive, especially when you consider that the spring game teams are mixed up and you don't have that rapport that you normally have. So it was good to see those guys come down some big catches. I think we'll have a talented receiver group, and I think the more they build a rapport with JJ, Zach, DJ, the other quarterbacks, I think we'll have a chance to have a really strong passing attack.
How do you assess the play from the trenches for both sides?
Well, I thought the defensive line did a really good job today. A lot of sacks, tackles for loss. Guys like Nick Watson made some plays. Lamont Green, I think Dante Anderson had a sack. Even Big Man, Anthony Smith making some plays. I think the mark for great defense starts up front. And I think our ability to get those guys to play at an extremely high level and have quality depth is going to go a long way in us establishing ourselves as one of the top defenses in America. So really excited about those guys. We know we have speed on the second and third levels, but now we can show that we have the depth and consistency in that front four. I think we'll have the opportunity to give a lot of offenses fix this coming fall.
Building on that, with that defensive line, what differences have you seen over the course of spring and today with the unit this year as compared to the unit last year?
I think the biggest thing is just the depth, especially on the interior. Last year we weren't really that deep inside. We kind of went through the year every week, kind of praying that we would get through a game without major injury. And Zion even had a couple of shoulder injuries, and that was kind of touch and go every week. But as you look up now, you got 7 or 8 guys that you feel really good about going into the summer. And I think you need that number and that's just on the interior, just the D-line, just the tackles. At defensive end, with Kenton being out this spring with his shoulder surgery, it gave Dante Anderson a chance to step into a leadership role. It gave Lamont Green and King Massey and Matthew Pointer, Nick Watson, those guys, an opportunity to show that they can play the game as well. Then even a guy like Kyrie Samuel, who been able to bounce around inside and outside. Nate Jennings, started out as a D tackle. We played him some as a 5 technique to the field. So just our ability to build depth and have guys that can play multiple positions, I think gives us a chance again to have a strong defense, because you never want to be in a situation where you're down numbers on the defensive line. So we really addressed that in the offseason, and we feel really good about the quality depth that we have at the position as opposed to this time last year.
Connie Smith had a couple pressures today. I think that's been a name that's really been talked about a lot this spring. Just what have been your assessment of him?
Which one?
Connie Smith.
Kanai
Smith. Sorry.
Yeah. No, Kanai's a guy that, when we signed Kanai last year out of Pahokee, that was the one thing that jumped out. He's fast, he's tenacious, he can get after the quarterback, and was a defensive end in high school. And so got here because of his size. He was a little under 200 pounds. We moved him to linebacker, and that was a learning curve to try to learn to play off the ball and play at the second level. That's not something that comes natural for a lot of guys. So he's still really learning the position, but when he goes, it's a blur. I mean, he can fly to the ball. He's a demon on special teams, and he's had a really, really good spring. So to see him line up as a defensive end on pass rushing downs and play linebacker on normal downs, I think gives you that Antoine Barnes type of player. Not to put him in that company, obviously one of the best players ever played here, but you see that same type of athleticism, that same type of ability to play as a stand-up guy and rush the passer. So we can continue to put good quality weight on him. We think Kanai has a chance to have a great future here.
Offensive line wise, really feels like in terms of pass protection at a high level, and it seems like even in the run game there were some lanes being open that allowed a guy like Devontae Lyons to rip off a big play or two. Talk about what you've seen from that group, not only in terms of what their ceilings look like, but how they've grown together over the course of the spring.
Yeah, outside of the secondary, O-line was the position that was depleted the most, through attrition. And so you look up and you got really 3 new starters on the offensive line, a lot of the younger guys, Jeremy Smith, those guys didn't play last year. And so just trying to get that group to come together. As we all know, the offensive line has to work in unison. And Coach Patter's ability to get those guys to communicate well, to make the right calls, that everyone's on the same page will be critical for our success in the passing and in the run game. So it was great to see them today. Again, you had guys who hadn't really played with each other because of how we do our rotations, be able to communicate and be able to open up run lanes. And then guys like Tay Lyons and AC and even Jalen Ford are able to go out and make some plays. And so for us, just like last year, our identity on offense will be that we can run the football. And we've got to establish the run early. We've got to be able to line up and do whatever we need to do to create a new line of scrimmage and be able to get the ball moving forward in the run game. And then that's going to open up the pass game for JJ to go out and execute for the receivers, JoJo, McGuire, Kyle McNeil, Greg Gaines, even the tight ends to go out and make plays in the passing game. But it's all predicated on how we run the football. And I thought today, at times we did a really good job running it.
Obviously with no Keyshawn, things are going to look a little different at running back. Just how do you plan on maybe giving those guys enough reps, playing time? How do you kind of see that working at the running back room with the rotating?
Yeah, I firmly believe that you don't always have to replace one player's production with one player. I think we want the production to continue, but not maybe by committee. And I think the offseason that AC's had, Devontae Lyons has put on some quality muscle mass, and that's why you see him able to run through some of those arm tackles that last year may have taken him down. Sterling Joseph, he showed he can do the last game of the season, his ability to make plays. So, having those three guys every day pushing one another, and then bringing Jaden Ford on. Little Mook's still learning the game, he's still learning how to do things, but he is dynamic with the football in his hands. And so just continuing to build that depth and build the competition in the room is something that we want to continue to do. And it's Coach Hippolyte's job as the running backs coach to make sure that we have the right guys in the game when we need to. And they're an unselfish group. They pull for one another. They don't care who gets the credit. And that's what you want to see from that group, because I do believe we're going to need all of them to have the successful running attack we want to have. Maybe not like last year where we kind of had to lean on KJ, but at times maybe even a little bit too much.
What were your thoughts on the fan turnout and even the alumni that came up?
Really excited about the turnout, especially with the alum. We had an alumni event last night, former players, and were able to just sit with those guys and talk and hear old stories. Guys that were on the first football team that played here. And so it's really great to see those guys and have them come and support. That's the mark. When you see that, you see a growing program. You see a strong culture. When you go to the University of Georgia, you go down the street, to the University of Miami, you go to Alabama, some of those places, Florida State even, you're going to see former players. Like when you go to their practices, you're going to see the guys that laid the groundworks and really built the program from the ground up. And that's what we need to see here. So to see T.Y. Hilton, Antoine Barnes, John Smith, these are some of the best guys that have put these uniforms on, and they're here today for the spring game supporting these players, giving them game on what life is like after football. And so it was great to see those guys to really be able to talk to them, and then just seeing the fan attendance and turnout today. We're really challenging everyone to really get behind this football team. I think we showed last year that we put a good product on the field. That's an exciting brand of football, and we want everybody to come out this fall to really see us come out and compete for a championship.
Did you get a chance to talk to Pitbull yesterday?
Well, it was great to see him, to be able to kind of meet him for the first time, and I didn't want to fanboy him, so to speak. There's a lot of people there taking pictures and all those things. So, shook his hand, introduced myself, and then I went and asked him if he knew what a really good cigar bar was. But he told me he didn't smoke cigars, which is surprising. But no, it was good. I think Scott and Jeanette met with him the night before. Really kind of laid the foundation, the groundwork of what we want this partnership to look like. And so I didn't feel it was appropriate for me to echo any of that. I think he knows it. I think he understands it. But I do think it was good for him to meet me, Coach Cantons, and to really be able to put a name with a face. To see that we're doing really good things with this program. We want to see him here. Our guys are excited about the fact that we get to play in Pitbull Stadium, and that his name, brand, and recognition continues to go a long way in helping grow this program. So it was great to see him, and hopefully it won't be long before we see him again.
What does your off-season now look like in the next couple months as you guys being a ramp up in the
It is an off-season for college football coaches. So, but no, we're the next week or so is going to be really a lot of player meetings. So they'll meet with their position coaches this coming week. I'll start my exit meetings with them the week after as they go into finals week. So really the emphasis for them is to really finish strong in the classroom, to really make sure we do everything that we need to do to exude the type of excellence that we want in the classroom and have a strong GPA. That is one of our goals, is to have a team GPA with 3.0. And we hit it the first 2 semesters we were here. We missed it by a couple of hundred something points last year, so this past semester. So we just want to make sure that we get back to that and continue to represent this institution in a first-class manner in the classroom. They're discretionary lifting right now, so continuing to train their bodies, continue to get bigger, faster, stronger in the weight room. But really, it's about finishing. Now we're at the finish line academically, so finish that. And then as we take a little bit of time off, or they take a little bit of time off while the coaches go recruit, then when we get back this June, it's go time, with OTAs and really preparing ourselves for this long season that's ahead of us. So, but for us, the work never stops. There's no vacation time for college coaches. We're right back at it. our guys are preparing to hit the road, recruiting, high school recruiting, spring ball starts it's right around the corner. So we'll be out recruiting junior colleges this next week, and then week after that we'll start our local tri-county recruiting, which is our base, you know, Dade, Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. So we'll start in those 3 counties, and then we'll spread out throughout the rest of the state.
Coach, you mentioned academics. Shamir is one of the kids that you honored today, civil engineering student. Talk about him, the ability to do well on the field and in the classroom.
Yeah, I mean, he's the epitome of what a student athlete, you know, really is, and the excellence that we talk about. You're talking about a guy who, you know, barring any type of injury or anything like that, will have a pro football career. We have no doubt about that. But Shamir does more community. I would put Shamir's community service hours up against anybody at this university. I mean, that's every weekend. Every weekend, you know, he's out doing something community service wise. We have our accountability teams that we broke the teams up into this spring to do our, you know, 4-quarter program and all of those things. And so they get points for, you know, PRs in the weight room. They get points for attending other sporting events, but they also get points for community service. Shamir's team, like, it wasn't even a competition. Like, they had so many points that they were all community service points. So we really had to change how we rewarded community service. Like, it was unbelievable the amount of points they got just for doing community service. Like, he made his entire team, 8 teammates every week. Every Friday, Saturday, they were out doing some form of community service. He's just an amazing individual, you know.
So you broke it up to like 9 guys?
It's about 9 guys per team, yeah. And you know, we compete doing our 4-quarter program, but again, the amount of points the team was able to you know, accrue doing community service. Like, after the first 3 weeks, I was like, okay, we gotta change how we reward it, because there's no way any other team would even, they could win every rep in every drill and attend every sporting event. They still wouldn't have had enough points to compete with that team because they were doing so much community service. But that's Shamir. He mandated that those guys get out, pick up trash, go see little kids, read at elementary schools, you name it, Shamir Sterling's doing it. And
Yeah,
so,
make a Shamir rule.
yeah, well, you know, it is. And so when we decided to hand out the Jeanette Nunez Award, it wasn't for the highest GPA. He didn't have the highest GPA on the team, but I think he embodies what Jeanette's mission is for a student here at FIU. Be well-rounded and to take full advantage of this experience. And he's doing that on the football field, in the classroom, as a civil engineering student, and off the field as one of the, you know, most loyal and dedicated people in this community, you know, trying to serve others.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Coach.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Enjoy the weekend.